What's going on, guys? Going to talk about Brian Flores a little bit from the breakdown. Again, match quarters. Cody Alexander does a great job putting this out every Wednesday. Take a look at it real quick. We have a majority cover three, like most NFL teams, about 30% of the time. I think the one thing that sticks out is cover two usage is one of the highest, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, let me go check that real quick while I'm here. Let's take a look at the top NFL teams playing cover two. Yeah, they are number two. So Jacksonville's number one at 28%. Minnesota's number two, Buffalo's number three, and New Orleans number four, New England five. So I think what we're going to see here is a lot of non-traditional cover twos. So we're going to take a look at that. I'm just going to put a little note in there to look at it when we watch the tape. Quarters is one of the highest numbers, if not the highest number of quarters. We know that from a pressure standpoint, they're gonna use quarters and pressure out of quarters as well. At least that's what the rumor is. We're gonna see if we see that on film today. Let's take a look. Quarters, they are number one. Okay, so and the Chargers are number two. Not a lot of cover six. I think that cover two kind of takes over for that. A little less, 10% I think is average in cover one. They are at 8%, and the same thing 5% when it comes to cover zero. So we will clear this out and we will, take a look at this as we go along. We will watch some tape and kind of figure out what kind of scheme we're seeing, what kind of fronts we're seeing, and then we'll get into those pressures. I do believe I have information on the amount of pressure overall. Excuse me 1 second here. So they are the number one blitz rate team at 45%. So let's just say 50%. Let's not even mess around, right? They are pretty much 50% blitz. I'll keep it 45, okay? Keep that note going. Let's see. They're blitzing in all situations versus not all, but versus the pass, it's half the time. Versus the run, it's happens to be about 35% of the time. If people motion, they still blitz. Let's see stunt rate. They're not at the top end of stunt rate, but they're in the top half. Let me see pass stunts. Nothing there. Okay, so we will take a look at that. Let me see run stunt. I'm pretty sure they're not going to run stunt team. All right, so that's just one of the highest blitz teams, and then we'll obviously have to break down what type of blitzes we're seeing. But that's just the overview. You want to get a view of what they're doing, right? So let's get on the field. Let's take a look at the last game they played this past weekend and try to watch some of this tape and make sense of everything. Okay, first play up, 1st and 10. Looks like they're in 12 personnel, a little pistol formation, a little quick game route, a little stick route on the outside. Defensively, you're going to see a lot of in this first series cover, it looks like single high defense. This is one where you can see that the front right now, they have a 3-4 front against 12 personnel. You got your 3 down linemen right here. Let me get the pin out. Got your interior three. You got Van Ginkel, I think, at the bottom or at the top, if I'm not mistaken. And one of the other outside linebackers here. All right. Then we have our 2 inside backers. So it's pretty generic 3-4 defense to start. You're going to see them rush 5 right now and just play fire zone principle cover 3. It looks like man coverage. It could be man coverage, to be honest with you. The way the corners are playing, you never can really tell off the corners. A lot of teams can play press and play meg up here with these corners up here, so hard to tell. But the category, we can either call it cover 1 or cover 3. We could probably find out more as we go along because most of the time the down safety would be responsible for the more athletic tight end if it's man coverage. So if we see 24 or 22 matching up on one tight end all the time, it's man coverage most likely. Otherwise, the rotation would just come down whichever side we want and we go from there. Let's take a look at this from the end zone. And overall, you're going to see a lot of Cub or Bear, just basically 2-3 techniques that show up in his defense most of the game. So we start here. We can see we have a head up 4 technique right here with our D tackle. We kind of have a head up 4 here, and we have a head up 0. They're going to end up probably going to these gaps. They might even shift a little bit. Let me take a look at it real quick. Again, they're going to B gap, so it's going to be essentially almost like running Cub defense, right? And if he is from the school of Belichick, this was a big thing that obviously Belichick did majority of the time, and then you will see games sometimes being run with the defensive edge guys out here, and potentially with our defensive ends. Okay, but again, these are 3-4 defensive ends. I think this is Harrison right here. This is Tillery. So these guys are a little bit more athletic than your usual D tackle bodies. These guys are about 280 to 300, and they can move. Okay. Um, and then we have in the middle, this actually could be Phillips right here in the middle. And then we have over here a 3 technique. So that's that. But again, the way the coverage is, I'm not sure if this is cover 1 or cover 3. Doesn't really matter. It ends up becoming like match principles in that situation off of the zone pressure look. Or it could just be cover 1, 5-man rush. I'm going to probably think that it's not a lot of cover 1 based off of the numbers that we saw because they're one of the lower teams that play cover 1. So I'm just going to assume for now, as we watch the film in the beginning, it's not cover 1. You get some line shifts here in the beginning of this play. Let's just go right to the end zone. Let's just get the front down first. I think that's actually important for him. So personnel wise, we still have our 3-4 package. 58 likes to get down in that 3-point stance. I'm pretty sure that's who that is. Van Ginkel will walk up. So we started here in kind of like almost a wide 9 front, right? And then they're going to move down. I'm pretty sure he's going to move here. He's going to move here. This is pre-snap, and that's going to get us into an under look. If you guys don't remember the video on under, go back. I'll put a link in the description below. I did a video about a year ago, just giving you guys the techniques, under, over, 1 technique, 3 technique, all that stuff. All right. So go back and review that if you hear me talking about it and you're not quite sure what that means. But again, we're going to get a classic 5-man pass rush and go from there. Now, coverage-wise, definitely think this is fire zone coverage. Our 2 backers are working towards where they think the run play is a counter boot. Fake counter. They're going to boot. 22 is a little too aggressive in there. That happens a lot, especially versus a condensed type of formation. The down flat gets open on the boot play. 22 is there to at least rally and make a tackle. You see the coverage with the corners back here. Looks like a 3rd player. Our safety back here looks like he's going to the post. Nothing crazy, right? All right. But I didn't get to the final alignment there. If I can get to it, I'm sorry. There it goes. All right. So that's the final alignment of the D line. So you have a 0, you have a shade here. Okay. You have a 5 technique, 3, a 5, and an edge rusher. This is an under front because the tight ends are over here to the left. So anytime you get a 0 shade to the side of where the tight ends are, that's pretty much what you would consider the under. I would say this: a 0 shade to the side of tight ends and a 3 away. That's what pretty much determines if it's an under. Okay. If this guy was to move into the B gap, it would just be no different than running a Cub type of look. Okay. If he ends up slanting inside, it becomes that type of deal. And he kind of did right there. So a lot of the fronts are going to end up getting back to bear type defense. All right. All right. We look at it from the end zone again, just to give us an idea of the front. Looks like 13 personnel. We're in base defense again. All right. So right now, right off the bat, again, we have our 0 shade aligned to the side of the tight end. Right. We have our 3 technique away. We have an edge player. We have our 5 technique, and we have another edge player. So again, the tight end's to the left. If the shade is to the left and the 3 techniques away, that's usually an underfront family. Okay. Doesn't mean they have to stay in underfront, but that's how they start. You might see some games here where guys are blitzing off the edge, ends up going back into the bear family. Again, bear family, if I had to go back and just talk about that quickly, bear family would be something where you would usually have somebody head up over the nose, right? Somebody over in the B gap, somebody in the B gap, or getting to the B gap. That's the idea of the bear family. As soon as you get this type of look where you have 3 guys in the middle, right? This could be a 2 gapper in some systems. Sometimes they actually today, you're going to one side or the other. Okay, there's different techniques there. But the main thing is that when you have 2 guys with their hand to dirt most of the time, I won't even say hand to dirt, When you have guys who are standing on the line of scrimmage and running through the B gap, and there's also somebody in the A gap, then you start hitting into the bear family. Okay. If it's 8 guys in the box, all right, most people will call it a bear front. If there's only 7 guys in the box, meaning that we have 2 split safeties or we got some sort of distribution where it's a little bit lighter, that's where we usually use the word cub. Okay, and that's what's in the game too. If you look at the game, that's in the game cub defense out of the 34 bear. Okay. This right now looks like it's about to be a blitz, the way Harrison's walked up right here. And then also the way everybody kind of slants inside. So it looks like, from my take, that this was a blitz off the edge, especially since the ball's going away and these guys are still kind of coming downhill. So this is actually a very interesting play because I do believe it's a 6-man pressure, all right, versus the run. So let's take a look at it. Pretty sure we're going to get our slant in here. I'm not sure what gap he's going to end up getting to. He might end up trying to get inside of that guy, and then he might end up trying to come off the edge. I know, why is there nobody out here? There's probably a corner standing outside, okay? So it looks like we're getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-man pressure, right? I'm not sure if he's really rushing. He could be a peel, which if this guy comes out to the flat, that means he will take him. But we're getting that 6-man presentation right now, all right? And then we have 2 backers sitting here. I'm not the coverage behind it, though. That would be the question. And we'll take a look at that once we go back to the sideline. But this is going to be a runaway, if I'm not mistaken. And they're going to pull somebody. Nope, they don't pull somebody. It's just zone. All right. I'll come back to the run fits in a second. Let me just see the coverage. Okay, so we have one corner that was playing kind of press. This guy's kind of sitting in no man's land. It's hard to tell if he's actually playing a quarter or if he's still playing a middle of the field. Again, this is what I've talked about before, where sometimes safeties do not show you that. They don't want to show you that. They'll make everything look like quarters, even though they're playing cover one. And this is also the philosophy of that versus run plays. It's kind of hard to tell what the defense was. So if I'm a betting man, I'm thinking this probably, even though he kind of came out right over here, I'm thinking it's still just some sort of single high defense. But in their system, this could be some sort of quarter style defense over here. And then we're playing a deep half safety. So it could be kind of like a 2 invert type of defense. But it's hard to tell unless we go against a pass player, the personality. So this could have been a blitz off the edge playing like a 2 invert. You know what I mean? And then these 2 guys would be like vision zone underneath, looking at the quarterback, playing like their spots, like basically like hook droppers playing off the quarterback's read. So once we'll see, most of the time when you get a play like this, you're going to see it again in the game. Hopefully it'll be against a pass and that will explain it. If you don't see it like that, then you need to go back and watch more film. I'm pretty sure this is not the first time Flores has run that. All right, let me get the down and distance on this one right now. So that was the run left tackle. Then we have a run right guard. So this is 2nd and 4. That was 1st and 10. Again, it looks like they're in 12 personnel. We're going to get a counter GY right here. Again, personnel-wise, it looks like the defense is playing still base personnel. All right, so let's just count it out here, guys. We got our outside backer here. We got an outside backer here. Okay, again, they're kind of starting in a certain front, then they're kind of moving around a little bit. But again, we kind of get the underlook. We got the shade 1 technique there. We have our 3 technique over here. The tight ends to the right. So when the linebackers come up, they're going to say whatever word it is, rip, right. That's going to set the front to the desired spots, and that's going to tell that DT to go to the right. Okay, and it's going to tell this DN to come down and be a 3 technique. And most of the time, this guy would either be a 5 or a 4. Okay, so most likely we're getting edge rush, 5-man rush. We have a safety that's down. If he's down that low, he's probably playing either man or he's blitzing. We'll see in a second. We have a corner over here. I think this is actually slot formation. So I think the corner walked over. So that would be, depending on his system, that would be a tell that offenses would use to find out if it's man or zone. So let's go back and see if both corners are on the same side. I think they are. So slot receivers are over here, 2 tight ends over there. So he's playing man on this guy. These 2 guys are probably banjoing, which means they're inning and outing I'm sorry, not banjoing. It's a 22. So these 2 guys are working off of their quote unquote man. if these guys were, if he was to come back and he was to go that way, depending on how they teach their system, these guys would either just exchange that and he would end up going here, or it could end up being a situation where they just stay on their guy. And that depends on the linebacker coach, how he wants to coach it, depending on the reads and type of plays that they're getting on offense. It could help or hurt them. But mainly we're getting our two. Let me go back to yellow. We're getting our two corners on both sides. So most teams that's man to man coverage. Sorry about this. That's man to man coverage for most teams. When I played with Wade Phillips, we ran corners over and still played zone. That's something that is unique, but that's a personality thing. So let's just continue on. It looks like we are getting this run play. We'll talk about this real quick because we're fitting up the gap schemes are pretty tough. Sometimes we'll see what happens here with the back. Both guys go the same direction, so both these backers are fine. Okay, so we have the gaps. We're good. So how do you teach this now? Well, we do look like we have 8-man spacing, so we could go lever spill lever with this. But most of the time, this player here, the first one to come up, right? If I was to go lever spill lever, he would take that guy and try to keep his outside arm free, meaning that he stays outside the block. So when the block comes, he stays outside. The next guy would come up. Okay, this is where the whole spill or lever technique would come into play. Some people would teach him to say spill, but I've always been taught to just blow this guy up. But basically, if you're going to lose to the inside, and then our next player would work over the top because there's no gaps inside for him to worry about because we have the pulling guard and we have the pulling tight end. So he would work over and make a tackle on this side. It's to me that's the best way to do it, especially since you're playing with these hard edge players, these wide defensive edge outside linebackers. The advantage most of the time that they get to do is they get to make everything go back inside. If you were playing with like a defensive end that was a little bit tighter, you might tell him to spill to make the ball bounce, and these guys can work over the top. But that's just the base idea of playing this 8-man front football. Let's just keep it moving. Let's see what happens here. Yep. So Van Ginkel stays outside. Okay. This player here, this linebacker took on the next pulling player. He actually kept this out. This would be considered keeping his outside arm free. Not 100% sure if that's how you want to teach it, but it happens so fast sometimes you can't always get it perfect. I personally, from my experiences, tell this guy to try to meet the second puller in the backfield and try to blow it up. All right. So he's a little bit late. And the number 44 gets caught up in the junk. He makes the tackle, though. So these two guys are the guys that are going to make this play here. He went down too far, I guess. Again, I would like this ball to be I would like for him to make the tackle over here, not necessarily right there, because as you see, it almost snuck through, and they did get some yards there. How many yards did they get? 6 yards. So that's just that. Yeah. Good run by them. Good play call. I'm pretty sure they're going to come back to that. All right, let's go to 1st and 10 now on the 40. We get a little pass here, a little wrap high low. I'm going to start using West Coast terms pretty soon. That would be like, what would this be like? Bow, if I'm not mistaken, on this side. And this would be like over here, flag from the backside. Maybe not necessarily a real flag, but a corner route with a little stop. Some people will work this guy out and have him come back in now. 3-man surface. This may not be the exact same thing. This might just be more of a spot combination because we have the running back coming out to this side. So let me take that back. I called it flag. I would just call it more of a spot with a bow on the backside. Most of the time, he's going to read the 3-man side and then work over here late. Coverage wise, you can see again, it looks like we're playing cover, some sort of zone pressure, cover 3. Right? We're getting our 2 outside guys right here. You see them coming off the edge. 5-man pass rush. Safety's going to walk down towards the stack. He's playing basically what we would say like seam flat, and he's the three hook player. Again, I'm not sure how they teach their zone coverage. We'll learn as we go, but this is the look that we have. So they technically have, I'm not quite sure why he didn't actually go over here. Actually, looks like his read is over here to the left. His head is over here to start. This is where I would need your offensive experts out there to give me an idea of why they're doing it like this. It looks like that was more of the last read. But again, the coverage wise, this is what's popular in the NFL is these 2x2 compressed formations. I'm curious to see how they're going to play it. They looks like they're just playing more zone vision and just break on the ball. But that's going to be a tough play to make no matter what. All right. So nothing crazy so far, right? Let's go with this next play. This is going to be all right. So that was a short pass for 4 yards. The second and right now, the 2nd and 6 on the 36. We're going to get a pass to the right here. So they started a 2x2. They motion over. And this one here is a unique play. I do believe this is another version of 5-man pass rush. It could be 6-man pass rush actually. So there, it looks like they're sending 6. And they're using, in my opinion, again, we got to see the coverage. It looks like these two guys are playing like vision zone defense. Third, third, third. When I say third like that, they're not just bailing. They're really playing like mess, really, almost from off. He has them in or a tight third is what people would say back in the day. Okay. I'm assuming that's what's going on here. We are sending an extreme amount of pressure. It was supposed to be off of the passing strength away from the tight end. This guy motions, they still end up sending it. But we're getting those 3 guys, those are linebackers, if I'm not mistaken. And then we have our interior guys, 3 guys right here. So they walked up one of their middle backers, or they might have subbed in an extra outside backer and had him rush on this one. Now 51 is rushing, so he's that other middle linebacker. So again, front wise, this is kind of like the beginning of the game. This is like an odd front, right? So just taking a look at it, we get a head up right here. We get a 4. We get a 4. They took their 2 outside backers are still in position to come off the edge. And then this backer, you saw him walk out and then he came. So it's an extra outside linebacker pressure. It's 6-man rush, and they have to probably be playing some sort of spot vision zone behind it. So in the game of Madden, your hot pressures is kind of like what you're looking at right here. Those hot pressures out of the cover 3 shell. Now, he is known for doing some of this stuff out of the quarters shell, so I'm hoping to see that soon. But that might be a situational thing. So this is just the screen. Good job by 22. He's the one that has to make this play. He's pretty much the only guy over there. The corner does a decent job. He gets off the block and makes the tackle. Good job by 22. All right, so this next play here, they're going to get gashed on 3rd and 1. The offense is in 22 personnel, or actually 13 personnel. I'm not sure if this is a fullback, but there's 1 receiver on the field. The defense is in, let's see, we'll see the front here in a second. Let's go to the end zone. All right, so they're in a 6-1 front. All right, so they have 4 big body guys here. So these are actually all defensive tackle ends in their system. Okay, I'm pretty sure this is a defensive end body. Not 100% sure. We have our 2 outside linebacker bodies in the 3-4. Okay, and then we have, who am I missing here? This guy here is actually, this has to be a linebacker, right? Yeah, it's Cashman 51. I just couldn't see with all the scribble. Okay. So this is 6-1, good against stretch. I know that's one of their plays. Not very good versus this. Okay. So they're gonna run. They're gonna have the insert guy come across the field, or not the insert, but just like the sift guy come and get the defensive end. He's gonna try to defensive end's gonna keep his outside arm and leg free. He's gonna box this. Okay. The problem is they have too many. They have too many guys pulling over to the right. And the good thing about playing guys off the ball is that we can pull when they pull. Meaning that if I was a linebacker and I was standing here, so if this was a regular 4-3, I know that the spacing would be different. This player right here would be standing in the box. Okay. And as soon as the guard pulls, there's no more gap technically. So he can come over and pull as well. So we keep the numbers. But because our outside backer is all the way over here, it's great versus stretch, but he's not going to be able to get back and help out. The guy that would have to do it would be your corner. He would have to get over there and be the extra body, but he also probably has man-to-man coverage. So he's in a little bit of a tight spot. So, and also he's not a guy who's going to be willing to tackle. I'm pretty sure that's Gilmore. But we can just see the number systems here. We're going to be outnumbered at the point of attack. They're down blocking on this power play. So we got this boom kick. This would have been like a fullback if it was in the backfield. We got the wrapper, okay? And we got the tight end working down for the first backer in the box. So this backer can't win. 22 most likely can't win. The only way that 22 could have won is if he actually played more aggressive and came down and fit the run a lot sooner. He's playing very slow, right? That's the only thing he could have done is try to get penetration sooner. He should have seen all of this and got his ass up in there right now. He doesn't, but even so, they still have more guys than we have. And really, it's because right now, when you see at the end of the day, the only guy that really could have made this tackle is number 2. Now, if there's different ways of teaching it, I'm not sure. But you can also see on this, the last thing I didn't mention is that you can see that the defensive line, they stunt inside. So take a look. So these guys are, I'm not sure exactly what gaps they're supposed to be on. Maybe I would like them just to be head up 2 techniques and just try to like, don't just go inside. But maybe they thought it was going to be a QB snake, and you see all these guys like kind of stunt inside. That just helps for a power play because all these offensive guys are just working their down blocks and just staying on tracks and just mushing this whole thing down to the right hand side of the screen. So that's part of the bad thing that we see there. So this is going to be easy first down. They end up getting, I think, 10 yards off of this. And that's understandable. Take a chance to play 6-1 defense on 3rd and 1. I would think most offenses would probably versus a 6-1. If they were an outside zone, they would probably have a can or a kill to some sort of power play just like that. Okay, we got 12 personnel. Looks like we are in our base defense again. They trade the tight end over. It's 2x2 even. We'll see the front here in a second. They move the guy over. This is very Shanahan-ish, what you see right now. Again, that kick out block, and I'm not sure what the people really call it, but they're 2x2. They're trying to get you to balance up, and then at the last second, they're going to try to outnumber you. This is more of a true Cub, I would think. It looks like he's in the gap, but we know he's going to the B gap. He's going to I'm not sure if he's going to front side or back side. I'm not sure if he's playing 2 gaps. I'm not sure if he's trying to lag or anything like that, because most of the time you don't see that in the NFL too much. Usually it's just pick a gap, unless it's old school Belichick. I got to take a watch. I got to watch that guy. I can't confirm. Our 2 outside backers are going to rush off the edge. Our safety's walking down. So it looks like it's just a regular 5-man rush. This guy did fold back on this play. And that actually looks like he's not really a rusher. This looks like he was going to, if there was a pass, I'm pretty sure this player right here was about to be in pass coverage. Let me just highlight him for you. I feel like he was going to be in pass coverage. So hard to tell though, like I always say, versus a run. Can't always tell me exactly what it is. But we did get rotation with the safety. So let's take a look at this, right? So the safeties, they started even. No, I started with number 24 walking down. Looked like he was about to play him. He noted, hey, if he goes over, we're going to switch. So if that tells me the defense had switched, that could be part of the reason why we're getting this player here as a dropper. Right? Because he'll be back in the middle. We have our 2 inside guys, and most likely he'll play some sort of short zone, and this guy would rush. So this could have been just a regular base defensive call, and they just ended up just basically flipping the whole call on defense. So that would also make sense maybe with the front up top. Easy to flip the call when your defensive line don't have to move. So those guys, then they were in their positions. Actually, hold up. Nope, they were in under and they moved over. Perfect. All right. So you can see how they were in under and then they moved over. Now they're moving either to what I had said when they're moving to like a Cub type of front. That could be the adjustment. Or in their mind, they could be moving to, no, they wouldn't be moving to an over to under, under to over. Looks like they just went to a base defensive front here. Something that they can just make an easy adjustment to. Safety walks down. We get another type of power play right here. We get the down blocks coming from the tight end, working down. This guy serves as the kick out. That would have been like a fullback back in the day kicking out. And then we got a wrapper. So he stays outside leverage. The good thing is that the safeties walk down to where now, because of the way the safeties rock and roll, we have better numbers. Okay. So this safety, whoever takes on the first blocker, most of the time, it probably will be this safety, or it could be him. He might fit it sooner. All right. But we have our 3 players to lever, spill, lever. whoever hits it first. Um, Not everybody teaches it that way, but still, we have three to take on this play. I forgot about the tight end coming back. He's still technically a lever player. He should work over the top of that tight end's block. So that tight end's coming down. He shouldn't get caught in here. He should work over the top. And he should beat that block and try to keep leverage on this guy and try to work over the top. I know now it looks like only he's the only guy that can make a play or a free safety, but the good thing what happens here is that on this play, the outside player over here, I don't know if he did it by accident, but he did not just keep his outside arm and leg free. He actually blew it up. He actually went inside to his inside shoulder. And what that did is that made the play, it made it a smaller hole, not allowing the guard to get up cleanly, not allowing the guard to really get on 51. And it built a wall so that it just muddied up the play and allowed 22 not to have to take on anybody and make a play. So actually, 22 is an extra hat here to the party, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he was an extra hat to the party. So let me not say that what happened there made it better for him, but at the same time, by the way the blocks worked out, it kind of just worked out that way. I don't know. The one thing is, I'm not 100% sure how outside linebacker coaches teach us nowadays. I do believe there are times, in this situation, if we know we have an extra safety, maybe you are the spill player because technically you are not the force player here, right? With rotation coming down to the right, he can actually now spill this because we know we have an extra player outside of us. Compared to if he was the end of the world, like if the ball went the opposite way, that player 15 could not have done the same thing. So I think that explains what we saw there. All right, heavy run right now. It looks like we have what happened here. Let's see here. Bunch. We finally get them in a nickel set. It looks like we are just running split zone here. Okay, so it's bunch to the right. It is nickel. Okay, what we're looking at here is like a 3-3 cub, right? Actually, no, this is more triple in Madden. This is a linebacker walked up. I'm not sure if it's an outside backer, but he's walked up. He's off the edge. He's walked up in a three technique. He's head up. We have a player here. We have a player here. So again, we're gonna get that 5-man rush look. Backer in the middle technically has this guy. We have this guy's gonna go in motion, and this guy's gonna go with him. So we know that's the man coverage there. These two guys are gonna have to work these two guys. Okay. Our safety back here most likely is going to play back in the middle, but he could also help out to that X receiver if it's a good player. All right, let's take a look at this. Again, we just have don't get distracted by the jet motion guy. We're just going to get a sift blocker with the tight end coming back, and we're just going to get inside zone to the defensive left. Ball cuts back into the backside A gap, probably because we're getting pressure right here. Everybody's playing their gaps. He sees that he doesn't have, he can't, there's no bounce read here. It's really, I'm not sure who he's reading here, but there's nothing that he cannot go outside on this play. So he ends up just taking it inside. 57 gets manhandled, which should happen. I think that is a backer. This player here, 51, who has the back, basically coverage over he doesn't have technically I don't want to say he doesn't have an interior gap. He probably has one of the two A gaps, but he's also watching the back. That takes precedence. So he's going with the back. As soon as the back starts to cut back, he falls back with him. All right. And it looks like we had a missed block out here on the edge player. So again, actually, it looks like the edge player purposely went inside. I'm actually shocked that these players aren't keeping it tighter and off. This one here is not keeping it tighter. So you would tell your sifter to come and try to dig that guy out, but he kind of went too wide, and that ended up working out for the defense. If this was a read play, though, and they kept the ball, they would be in trouble off the outside. So they might come back to that later on. All right, here we get one of the most interesting defenses, the last one of the series. It's third and about 6. They come out. It looks like they try to go quick. I'm not sure if it's definitely 11 personnel. I can't tell you what the routes are. It looks pretty bad route running. But watch this on defense. I'm going to show you something that you probably never seen before. Take a look at this this front. This is an all linebacker front. I've never seen this. This is 6 outside linebackers in the game. One, two, three, four. That's 52. Five, six. Now I looked it up. 52 is like 280, but he's still listed as an outside linebacker. They have 6 linebackers in the game and 5 DBs. The DBs are just playing cover one. All right, so that's just simple. Um, Harrison's in the middle of the field as the free safety. I don't know why he's standing so close, but that is very interesting how that worked out. So one of the backers fall out and become like a whole player. Actually, I take that back. He has the running back. So they end up actually sending 5 here, and you just get one-on-ones across the field. I'm pretty sure he's just trying to say, hey, this is like my NASCAR package. We're going to go 5, my best pass rushers versus your guys. And then this guy is playing man-to-man on the running back. So I want you guys to see that. The pressure got to Murray. Let me see if I see anything with the edge players. They're staying outside like good contains, really almost. And you're getting some intense pressure up the middle. And that's what pretty much kind of messes up this play. Coverage is okay. It's not even great, really, but that's that. So just wanted to show you that. I don't think anybody in the NFL is doing that, but this is an example of on third down, you're going to see a lot of funky personality stuff. We'll see how much more happens in this game. But want to give you guys this little first series preview. This is the NFL, guys, and this is what you see majority of the time. You still see a good amount of single high. You're not going to see a lot of split high, I think, until either the offense is going to become very much so spread or condensed, because you can play split high against condensed as well. Or you're going to be in situations where there's a lot of passing going on. So still to start the game, this is how it starts. I'm going to put this video up for you guys in the DB room. I'll also cut it up for YouTube later on, but we want to get started here. I'm going to go get some dinner, come back, continue to watch some more film. This is going to be a slow breakdown, guys. We're not going to do all of this in one night. I'm not going to give you all the answers to the test. We're going to do it together. We're going to learn about the defense. But the good thing is, you know you need outside linebackers after watching this clip, right? All right, guys. I'll talk to you later.